Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana, and it's Casing Tuesday. That's the day when we take a card out of the catalog and we give it a makeover. And we have a Facebook group for that. So if you haven't joined us, you are welcome to join us. The link is down below in the description of this video if you would like to join us and share your card with us or see what we're doing over on our Facebook group. Basically, we just pick a card. It is a specific card, so it's not just a random card. We choose one specific card each week, and then we give that card a makeover, and we have a thread where everyone posts their cards. So on any given week, we could have like 10 to 20 people participating, and they share the different designs, and it's kind of neat to see the progression from the original card to see all the different things that you can do with it. Good morning, Christy. So I talk a little bit at the beginning. I hear that there's been kind of bad weather throughout the U.S. this week, and I hear that Texas got snow. That must have been a big shock and maybe a little bit fun for you guys down there. I used to live in Tennessee, and I know every time we got snow, it was a big deal. We didn't usually get a lot, but Texas is even further south, so that must have been a real surprise. We actually have, surprisingly, we have rain today up here in Boston, and it's really wet. I didn't walk outside this morning, which is really unusual. I walked on the treadmill this morning because it was just, they said it was slippery out, and that combined with it's still raining, I just didn't want to take a chance and end up hurting myself. I guess I could have put on spikes on my shoes, but kind of difficult. The sidewalks are bare, the park has ice and snow, so it was like, yeah, treadmill today. Hopefully tomorrow I can get outside because I like the fresh air, especially since we coop in a lot more since all the virus stuff happened. Good morning, Dee. Ooh, sub-zero in Kansas City. You need to come up here to warm and balmy Boston. We're above zero this morning. Well, Celsius, above 32 degrees, sub-zero. That's cold. Is that Fahrenheit, D? Okay, that's kind of shocking. Anyway, today is Casing Tuesday, and I'll show you the card that we're casing today. It's this card right here. And it looks like it has a lot going on, but if you look at the sketch, it's kind of simplified for you. We've got a big focal point area that you can do whatever with. You know, you can do this, or I turned mine on its side, so I actually didn't do a landscape, I did a portrait. So we will see in a second what I did, and that sketch is going to help you with dimensions. So, you know, cut yourself those pieces in scrap paper and then kind of plug and play if you're new to all of this. If you're experienced, then just go to town and have fun and use that original sketch as a guide, and you can alter the dimensions a little bit. It's nice if you can still kind of see the original bones of the card within your card, but sometimes, yes, sometimes the whole process takes us off and it doesn't look as much like the original as it should. But we kind of like to kind of stick within a certain parameters so we can share each other's cards and see them and have fun watching what other people have done. Good morning, Amy and Betty. Okay, now that I have a few of you on here, let me switch to my other camera. Just checking, make sure everything's working. All right, so here's my card for today. And as I said, I turned the sketch on its side, and I was looking through my stamp sets to see what I hadn't used yet. I hadn't used the Sunshine stamp set. Say that quickly a few times. Sending Sunshine stamp set. That's like a kind of a tongue twister. And this little scene here is created with 3 little stamps. And then of course the leaves and the clouds are another stamp, but I'm going to show you how to put all of that together. And it just makes kind of a beautiful, happy, cheery card on this dreary day where it's raining and drizzling outside. So I think I'm going to send this one to my mom because she says right now it's kind of hard when the sun isn't shining because, you know, she's by herself now, and it's hard, you know, not being able to see people. And so I thought maybe this would be a little cheery card to send to her. Okay, so here's the stamp set, and you can see here's the bigger stamp. You combine it with this stamp and then the sun to create that sunset scene. So I'll show you how to do that. And I also use the Stitch with Whimsy dies. These are in our Jan to June mini catalog, and you can kind of see how I use that around here. I'll show you how I did these different pieces. These dies don't cut out a layer. They add a layer of stitching, so they're a little bit different than what you might think. So you might want to see those in action. All right. So let's start with our focal point layer. This is a piece of basic white cardstock. This piece is 3 1/4 inches by 4 1/2 inches. And I like to start with stamping the water first because then I can get an idea of how to position everything. So Pool Party is a great color, great basic blue-green color. It's probably one of my favorite blues because it's so versatile. So just going to ink up the bigger of the 2 water stamps. And this one will stretch right across, almost all the way across. And I want to stamp this maybe 3/8 of an inch from the bottom, or 1/4 inch. And I'm just going to stamp that right down there. Give it a good push onto the paper because this is a big stamp, okay? So you want to make sure you have great contact with that. And then I'll take my smaller stamp, and when I'm stamping these, I'm standing up because I need a bird's eye view. So I'm going to ink this one up, and now take a little moment to align. I kind of come from the top until I see the top line of my horizon match with this line. So I kind of come down and I bring this U right here down the center. I center it down the middle, and when it lines up, then I stamp. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're off just a little bit. That's pretty close because by the time you stamp the sun in there, it will look better. Just set that aside for a moment, and now I'm going to bring in pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie makes a great sun. So let me see if I can get this nice and inky. And then I'm going to, this stamp, I don't know if you can see this. I'm holding it up. There's a little line underneath the half circle at the top. There's a little blank space, and that's going to help you find your horizon. I don't know if I can get that to show any better. But there's a little line right underneath that half circle, right about where my fingertip is. And that's what you're going to line up with the horizon of the pool party. And then you're just going to center it and then stamp it down. Okay, so now you can probably see a little better. You can see that white line. So I kind of lined that up with the pool party. Okay, so now let's get some of the other images in play. So I want to stamp a little cloud over here, and I want to also put my greeting in here. I just remember there's one other thing I can do. This looked too white to me down here. You can kind of see the difference, right? I added a little Sahara sand with a sponge dauber. So I've got my Sahara sand ink pad. I've got a sponge dauber that I only use in Sahara sand. This is very light ink, and my Sahara sand ink pad is really dry. But if yours isn't, what I suggest you do is daub off once first and then start blending right into the edge and just go blend out to the white, okay? To get rid of that original dot, and you just start off really light and you just kind of come along and you blend. And this is going to help break up that blue line. It's going to give it kind of a sandy seashore kind of look. Okay, and I don't go all the way to the edge of my cardstock down here. I just want to blend it out. And so you can see it kind of gives it a little bit of like a sandy seashore sort of look. Okay, let me see. Okay, I do want to stamp, kind of do things in different orders. So this layer right here, I actually run it through with a scrap piece of Whisper White. And I'll do this after the fact, but I want to use it as a, okay, so you run this through with a scrap piece of white, okay? And then you're going to get a layer that you're going to need to cut out. And I'll show you how to do that after the fact, but I already pre-cut one out, so just to give you an idea. So I'm going to put this layer right here, and maybe I should stamp my little greeting on here first, so I kind of really get a good idea of how to do this. Okay, so I'm going to stamp Sending You Sunshine on here. I'm going to stand up so I can see better. Okay, and this is pumpkin pie again, and I'm going to kind of line this up. I'm going to have about 1/4 of an inch sticking out here. I'm going to grab a pencil, and I'm going to make a couple of little marks, one right here, one right here, and one right here. That's going to give me an idea of where this label is going to go, so I can stamp my branches. So it looks like the tree is kind of hugging that label-y piece. Okay, so I'll take my Granny Apple Green ink pad. And now that I know where everything's going to be, I can, please don't drop the stamp. I don't want to do that. So I want this branch to kind of come down here. Okay, looks terrible right now. Well, not terrible yet, but in a second it's going to look kind of weird. And then I want this piece peeking out about here like that. So it looks like there's branches not attached to anything, but it's going to make sense in a second. Scrap piece of paper up here. All right. Okay. My Instacart shopper started shopping. I hate it when this happens during my life, but we'll make it do. Okay, so I've got this label-y little piece like that. And now I want to add this little cloud right here. So I'm going to take my clouds and stamp them off once, and then I'm just going to add them to my sky right there. They're very, very subtle, but they just add a little interest. Okay, so now I'm going to run this piece through with my die, because I didn't want an irregular shape, but I wanted this stitched piece around here. So I'm going to take my second largest die right here, and I'm going to grab my Stamp and Cut and Emboss. Lots of things in the way right here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to turn this. I always like to run through dies that are very square on a bit of an angle so they go through the die or die cut machine more easily. So I'm going to run this through, and this doesn't cut out the edge. It just gives this edge a little bit of a stitching. And you can see right here, I was a little off. I didn't center it. So I needed to be a little bit more on. That wasn't hard. Honestly, right now, when that Instacart thing goes off, it makes me nervous. And so it distracts me. And I am one of those people that I actually need to not be distracted when doing things. I can only focus at one thing at one time. So anyway, sorry, that's why that was off. But it will be okay. I'm going to run this through to show you how I did the label thing in After Effects. So I'm just running it through with a piece of Whisper White. And I want you to see that this piece does not cut out. It just stitches. So I'm going to put my machine away, grab my scissors, and then I just take this and I cut around it. Okay, and that's how I got my label-y piece. You just keep cutting around, and I won't do the whole thing, but that's how I got this piece. Okay, just wanted to show you that. All right, so let me finish off this card, even though I did the little stitching a little bit wonkety. But this is going to cover this up right here, so it's not going to look so bad. Yes. You know, don't you just hate not being perfect? It's so hard. All right, this pool party piece measures 3.5 by 4 3/4. If only I had straightened it. Okay. It's a stitch with whimsy, so it's a little bit not supposed to be perfect anyway, right? The whole idea of the curvy line, it's like a really subtle thing. So you know what I mean? It's not meant to be 100% perfect. So put some Tombow on here. This is my card base. Started off 11 by 4 1/4 and scored in half at the 5.5 inch mark. Then I'll add the pool party piece to the front. Centered. Okay, and then I'm going to adhere this onto here. And my pencil marks kind of got covered by the greenery, so I don't really have to worry about them. But if they bother you, you can erase them. And then I'm just going to add this on here. Maybe down a little lower. Okay. And then to finish off the card, I'm just going to add a little pool party bow. If I can find my mini glue dots. Here they are. Add it to the bow to here. The bow I made with the pool party sheer ribbon. I think I've mentioned this ribbon before. I love sheer ribbon. Absolutely love it. It ties nicely and it just adds a nice element to the card. It doesn't take over the card, because that's one of the big things. Sometimes a problem with ribbon is it takes over the card, but this is just nice and subtle and soft. And pool party, this could also be colored if you wanted to with a darker color, and it would look really nice as well. You can color it with your alcohol markers, Stampin' Blends. Okay, so there is the card. And even though it's crooked, you guys know it's crooked, someone else who gets this card might not know that I didn't center this 100% properly. So this one is the one that is better, but look how nice that scene turned out, right? Oh, one other thing I did, I forgot. I used Stella. So Stella is kind of a clear glitter brush, and it's makes this, you can't see it on camera, but there is some glitter on here. In person, this will shine when the light hits it. So I'm going to come down here with my Stella and just blend over top. It's okay. Look, I am blending through here, and it is blending some of the orange out into the blue. Let me just clean this off a bit because I don't want to blend it too far. And then I'm going to come over here. It's not really a blending brush, but it does pick up some of the ink and blends it a little bit. So for the blue on blue, it doesn't really matter. I'm squeezing it a little bit to get a little bit more to come out. But just blending it this way. It's going to look so nice. All right. When this dries, that you'll be able to see a little bit of that orange has blended a little bit more with the blue, just like a sunset would. So that's kind of cool, right? Yeah. So it looks so pretty. What do you think? I'm going to turn off my little notifications. Do you have the Sunshine stamp set? Have you tried it yet? I love creating that scene, like 3 parts very quickly. I'm only 20 minutes into this video and we're already done. So don't you love that? That's something you can stamp really quickly, and you know, something that's cheery and bright. Good morning. Okay, let me see if there's any questions. Oh, Dee says it's -4 now. When I woke up, it was -9. And yes, Fahrenheit, not Celsius. Oh my gosh, that's cold. Yuck. Yuck. I'll stay in Boston right now, although I know it's going to get cold on the weekend. But I roll in Celsius, so I have to always convert. And when you guys get down to the minus and the Fahrenheit, I just like, oh my gosh, that's so confusing. Yesterday it was 57 degrees inside the house. Oh, you lost your power. Ooh. Yuck. Well, I hope you have a warmer day today with your power back on. Dee says, I love that stamp set, and thank you for the tip on how to do the water element. It's so pretty. Thank you, Dee. Good morning, Geraldine. Amy thanked me for the placement suggestions. You're welcome. Oh, good morning from snowy Quebec. Oh, yeah. Not probably a surprise to you that it's snowy in Quebec in February. Our son is in Waterloo, Canada, in Ontario right now. And they have a lot of snow and it's very cold. And he was able to see his girlfriend on Monday, and they went sledding. So that's the kind of thing that you get to do with your girlfriend up in Canada in the winter. You don't. There's just it's cold, cold. All right. Good morning, Bev. Well, thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I hope that this will help you with the Sunshine stamp set. It is a really fun one because it layers so quickly. One little tip I'll give you is practice the scene on some computer paper before you start, because it is a little bit, if you're not used to stamping, it's going to take you a little bit to get the alignment right. So just like stamp it like 5 times and practice, okay? And then it will get easier. I mean, it's not hard, but just like bring that second water piece down from the top until it aligns, and then stamp it. You know, that aligning little piece, like getting that solid, will take a little bit to get used to. Or set it up on your Stamparatus, that stamping positioning tool. That will also help a lot, especially if you're making a lot of cards. That way it will be easy peasy each time, and you won't have to reset if you're making a lot of them. All right, guys, let me tell you, celebration is still going on. We have 2 weeks left. So for every $50 or $100 you spend, you get to choose a free product from Stampin' Up. We have a rewards catalog that you can choose from. So don't miss out. We only have 2 weeks left of that. Don't forget to join our Facebook group if you're not already a member. All the supplies that I used today are on my blog. That link, it's the very first link in the video. That one will take you over to my blog, and I have a supply list down below with all the products that I mentioned today. That's about it. I will be back on Friday with another video, another tutorial. This time I'll be over on YouTube. So be sure to join me over there for YouTube Live at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you guys have a great week and take care. Bye-bye.